Oh, no.
Hello and welcome to SproinkDota presents Random Team Game. I'm Nuff and I'm joined by Iggy,
Hello!
who tried to talk over me at the beginning for some reason.
I was about to say, you're making me feel tired now with all of your talk being tired.
What can I say? I'm influential, if nothing else. So today's match is between ForDaWin and Noname Esports.
Indeed. Noname Esports. Oh, okay, I'm on my Dota buff. I should have maybe done this about 10 seconds ago.
Yeah, but you know, I can't get the staff. I just can't. It's just not
You
available.
can, they're just all worse than me.
I think I have to put a personal ad up for a new co-caster.
Ooh.
Batrider being banned out for the win. As we
Nothing.
sit here awaiting some news of what these teams are made of. Have you found anything for us, Iggy?
10 seconds remaining.
Yeah, I found something, but there's like 4 Noname. Okay, no, it's the right one. They've played a game from Noname Esport. Like, a game. They won it, but they played it.
Reserve time.
It's possible, of course, that they have played other games.
Indeed, under different. I'm actually very, very inclined to believe that, as there is an awful lot of similar named teams, and ForDaWin have played an awful lot of games. So, wow, I say an awful lot, 60% win rate. So,
Not bad. So ForDaWin looking like they are in the more experienced and advanced camp out of the two teams. Then again, we were on page 2 of the team matchmaking, so both teams should be pretty competent.
we would hope at least.
Ooh, OD first pick.
Now, this is a little bit of a risk purely because there's still an awful lot of heroes in
Well,
the
it's not
pool.
an awful lot. There's like
What?
2 heroes
Razor
that are
and
good.
Lone Druid.
Razor and Lone Druid, yeah.
They're both available to pick, so it's possible this OD won't be winning his lane if ForDaWin decide to counter it. That said, if you're counter picking one particular hero, it does kind of hurt your strategies an awful lot of the time.
10 seconds remaining.
Can do, but a hero like Lone Druid can fit easily into this current meta's kind of emphasis on the free
Indeed.
cores and the split push. They picked up a Darkseer as their first pick,
Ooh, and a
and the
Naga.
Naga Siren support as the second pick.
Good 2 picks then.
Good solid picks.
That said,
Really good heroes.
Lifestealer's still in the pool, but it's always a risk to take him once the Naga's on the board. Always is, so I think Noname might decide to pass it up this time in favour of picking up a strong offlaner for themselves in Nature's Prophet, I'd imagine.
Nature's Prophet's a good one. They might pick up the Lone Druid themselves just to stop the ForDaWin being able to pick it up, and then of course they can ban out Razor in the next phase.
That said, they'd probably have to take the Lone Druid. Like, ForDaWin, if they were taking the Lone Druid, would need to pop it up mid against the OD, and it's okay. I mean, it's pretty reasonable seeing a Lone Druid in mid, but in my opinion, he's always a little bit too vulnerable to those rotation ganks.
He's as vulnerable as any other hero in mid, in my opinion.
Except for something like Puck.
Yeah, but Puck, unless you can get your illusionary orb off, you're in trouble. And a lot of the times you'll see the teams wait until he uses it on the creep wave before going in. So
Yeah.
Clockwork pickup,
Actually,
not too bad.
if he ends up going one-on-one against the Darkseer, he's actually a really, really favourable offlaner for him. Because if Darkseer decides to be a massive troll and decides to go creep skipping, Clockwork can just run up to him and go, well, Cogs, good luck running away with 0 mana.
Yeah, he's also a decent initiation for team fights if he hits the Naga Siren first and gets his battery assault off, because it prevents her from being
Fantastic
able
song.
to do the song. Yeah, exactly. So
Indeed.
it's a pretty decent pickup in all respects.
That said, I mean, if there is someone else caught in the Cogs with the Naga Siren, who, let's face it, you normally want to catch 2 people inside Cogs. If there was 2 people caught inside with the Cogs, with the Naga Siren, the battery assault would split, and then the ultimate would be able to pop, so...
Should still be behind the cogs though, so
Yeah, true.
it would at least slow
Still
their
kind of
ability
stuck.
to- Yeah, there's the ban on the Razor,
Radiant team ban.
forcing them
Probably
to
be
pick
followed
the
by-
Lone Druid mid if they want anything else that can go up against OD, or they might just go, well, you know what, we're going to pick up a hero that doesn't have to do particularly well in mid to still be effective.
Exactly. I mean, someone like a Beastmaster. I mean, all
Yeah.
he really needs to do is hang around and grab experience.
10 seconds
Yeah, as long as he's got his ultimate up, then he's happy, and of course he can start ganking off of that, which then will start bringing him gold and get him towards that Aghanim Scepter that you really want on him.
He also is very, very effective in himself against the Outward Devourer if you ever decide to go for a gank on him. Because if he's level 6, I mean, that opening stun, I mean, Outward Devourer is not the toughest hero. He can deal a lot of damage, and he has the Astral Imprisonment to keep himself or safe or disable others, but if you can get those 3 or 4 seconds in the Beastmaster Ultimate out on him, I think he's going to die if there's a couple of supports for nukes there.
5 seconds remaining.
Interesting ban out from ForDaWin as well, going for the Enigma ban.
Reserve
Did you see Enigma?
No, Noname have never played him before. That said, they've got 1 game, so they've not really played a lot of heroes, but
They've played a total of 5.
I don't really see an Enigma. I mean, he teams up pretty damn well with the Clockwork. The Clockwork and able to kind of half initiate for him and keep them all in place with the cogs even after the Black Hole ends. And he kind of works with OD because of Sanity's Eclipse, having a nice juicy 5-man target to land on normally, but I didn't really see it above any other team fighter popping out.
No, but it's difficult at the moment because they haven't picked up any of their supports or their carry. So, Gyrocopter.
As
Of
carry.
course, the synergy between Gyrocopter, Naga Siren, and Darkseer is pretty damn good.
Indeed.
So that's a really decent pick. Of course, that's probably why they banned out the Life Stealer as well. He's one of those heroes that can really make Gyro's life a misery, because Gyro's not the strongest carry in terms of strength gain.
Yeah.
So he can be eaten quite quickly by Life Stealer.
Indeed, and it's really, really hard. I mean, one of the massive issues with the Lifestealer is not so much the amount of damage he does or anything, it's the fact that there's no real way to disable him as he's coming towards you in that rage. So it allows him to get and lock onto the Gyrocopter really, really easily. And we know how pretty much every single melee carry has a much higher damage output than any ranged hero.
Yeah, and Gyrocopter, especially early on, or definitely early on in comparison to later on, he really relies on his burst damage from Rocket Barrage and his ultimate damage to really do a lot in team fights, because his right click isn't up there until later in the game. I mean, he can be devastating later in the game with Flat Cannon up.
I'm sorry, did you not hear my ooh?
I heard your ooh at the silencer, but I was still continuing to talk about Gyrocopter. A silencer has been picked up.
Indeed.
It'll be interesting to see where they're going to put him.
Also, it is also worth noting, if he does go on the tri-lane, it means they've only got the ensnare as a disable more than anything else. And something else, for Noname Esports, I see an awful lot of single-target ganking potential here.
It's possible that Silencer could be a nuisance for the Outward Devourer.
Mid. The problem is Silencer doesn't really like having his...
He'd have to get on
They're
top
both
of...
stealing each other's intelligence.
Yeah, he'd have to get on top of the Outward Devourer early on with his harass and try to avoid as much of ODs as possible.
Yeah.
I think it's still an OD lane if that's the case, but he can be a nuisance if he can get over the top. If they keep shutting down his OD with rotations, which is possible with a Naga Siren at the moment, and depending on what other support they pick up. I mean, if they pick up something like a Visage now,
5 seconds remaining.
I can see that happening.
I really would not like to see a Visage right now. I mean, ForDaWin at the minute only have 1 stun, and it's Gyrocopters.
They got Naga Sirens and Snare, don't forget.
That's not stun. And also good Alchemist ban. I was about to suggest that it's probably the most likely carry Noname will be going for right now, especially with this kind of really, really heavy single-target ganking load-up.
You have absolutely no split push at the minute. So they've got counter push with Lena,
Yeah.
and Clockwork to a degree. So maybe something along the lines of
5 seconds remaining.
an anti-mage would be a decent enough
pretty
carry.
for them. Or something like a Phantom Lancer as well, maybe.
And Phantom Lancer, but he really does struggle without PL. I mean, he doesn't struggle, but it's
Don't
such
you
a good
mean
combo.
Cottle?
Oh yeah, with Cole, sorry. Which they banned out themselves. They banned out
Phantom
Visage.
Lancer really struggles without more Phantom Lancers. That's
if it's
true
just
as well,
if
I
it's
suppose.
Just if it's just the one Phantom Lancer, he's not very happy. He's just like, where are my bros?
Woo!
Well, there's another stun, which does actually sync up really well with the ensnare, because, well, they're trapped and they can't move away from your nice little stun.
We do love seeing us.
It does, of course, mean that it's quite likely that you're going to have Silencer in mid, or possibly Gyrocopter in mid. We did actually see a Darkseer go up against an OD, I think, not that long ago, and had a horrific time of being stomped all over the place.
For Noname
I
Esport,
think it's OD, I can't remember now.
for Noname Esport, I think it generally just does just boil down to, do we want to sit with an anti-major or Phantom Lancer? I mean, both of them are going to be given colossal amounts of space to farm with this really, really heavy single-target team fight load-up. But they're really going to have to rely on him for the late game because I mean, look at all the team fight coming out from ForDaWin right now.
5 seconds.
It's not just that. I mean, you've got 3 cores in their lineup as well with the Shadow Fiend. Now, it'll be interesting to see.
We'll be farming Shadow Fiend.
If it's a Shadow Fiend that's going to be farming, and the OD mid, because there hasn't been a proper counter to the OD, so it's quite possible OD still remains mid. Although we have seen. We could have a 3-core kind of tri-lane to try to stop the farm of the gyrocopter.
Yeah.
Which is a possibility. We'll have to wait and see how they lane it. I think if they're going to go for the most like regular lineup, you're going to have the Shadow Fiend free farming bottom.
Indeed.
With his 2 supports with him, OD mid, and an off-lane Clockwork.
I do have one massive issue though, is that Noname have gone ahead and picked this what is now an incredibly early game lineup built for single target ganking, but ForDaWin have an early game lineup designed for team fighting. So I think this game is going to be over really, really quickly actually, whether it's going to be the massive team fight, team wipes of ForDaWin which win it, or the single target pickoffs shutting down all the key heroes on ForDaWin.
Yeah, definitely true. I mean, OD is one of those mid carries. Shadow Fiend again is a kind of mid game carry. You can get late, but
Smoke.
with the ability of Gyrocopter to flash farm really quickly, he can get ahead of Shadow Fiend, I believe.
Oh dear,
They have the
Shadow
smoke.
Fiend.
They've found Rocket Barrel's going on 2 of them at the moment. They've got the curse out on bait.
Venus stun misses.
Yeah, she misses, she doesn't hit nothing. She's actually on the run. Disarmed and silenced up on the Bane. Lena continued to run away. Big stun comes out, gets 2 people, but she's still got a lot of people on her. Salve's up trying to stay alive. She's actually getting in a worse position by the moment.
Yeah, this was not the decision she wanted.
Oh, there comes the stun. She's dead.
She needed to go back towards her own team as opposed to running up through mid.
Yeah.
Following
She got trapped. She got trapped and she got picked off. First blood going to Gyrocopter, which is of course pushing him ahead straight away.
That said, although you do gain a lovely gold boost, I mean, this is practically enough for him to get boots straight away, but what you don't get is a good XP boost, because you've rotated 5 heroes to do that, which means that's all split over them all.
Yeah, but it also denies first blood to the enemy team, which is always nice. So yeah, Shadow Fiend's going to be trying to last it on the Iron Shells, which is not going to be the most pleasant experience of his life, but...
That's not too awful.
His last hit, so it won't be too bad for him. Of course, having total free farm means he's going to get those souls up really quick.
Indeed. Clockwork's looking very out of position here right now. The Leshrac spots him as they come up through the wave.
Well, they know he's there now.
Yeah. Yeah, this could be a very, very dead Gyrocopter.
Clockwork, you mean?
I think Naga moving in for the ensnare. Sorry, yeah, Clockwork, not Gyrocopter.
Yep. He's got his cogs, but he's surrounded. He cogs in
Good
Leshrac with him. Is the stun going to come up? No, he gets burnt. He's still on the run. Having exchanging fighting with this Leshrac.
Well, Leshrac couldn't really go for the stun there. The cogs were going to be up long enough to deny the Naga's right clicks, and, well, Gyrocopter only really has the rocket barrage, which he would have been knocked away from. So, actually, pretty good counter to the initiation there with the cogs. Oh.
Has to be expected silencer, not having
That's
the
a stun.
stun.
Poor Clocky.
Clock is on the run.
Probably
Should be just fine. No ensnare yet for him to deal with. Silencer not having the greatest time in the world in mid. He's doing okay-ish. He's making sure he's only using his curse after our Devour has just used his Astral Imprisonment. Problem, of course, he's losing intelligence every time this happens, making it really difficult to cast it. I mean, he hasn't got enough mana to cast it right now.
Kind of interesting to see 2 intelligence stealers in mid against each other.
Yeah, but one's far better at it.
Yeah. But don't forget, Silencer did have the starting intelligence boost after killing the Lena off.
Yeah, but it's not going to help too much against this OD.
Indeed.
So the OD and the Shadow Fiend farming probably the best out of everybody at the minute. So it's going well for them.
Well, they've got for a very, very early game lineup with these heavy early carries. I mean, we can kind of expect them to be on top of the, not just the gold charts, but probably also the kill charts very, very soon when they start to get their abilities coming up.
Yeah, this Darkseer's got to be really careful because it's quite easy for when Shadow Fiends start to get in Necromancy up to a really high level within the next, 4-5 minutes. That if he gets like nightmared by Bane and then follow-up stunned by Lina, it's quite possible that Shadow Fiend can just destroy him.
Indeed.
Before he even comes out of his stun, so...
Shadow Fiend is very basically one of the hardest right-clickers in the game early on.
Yeah, and of course Darkseer is going to be very careful at the minute. He's not even staying within XP range, this is how it's going at the minute.
Yeah, but that does mean he's only level 1. I mean, he doesn't actually have the surge, so if they did choose to go on him, if he finally decides to come within XP range, he's completely dead. I mean, he cannot get away if that happens. I think his best bet right now would be just to rotate up into the jungle. Just take some of the jungle farm up on the top lane and hopefully get a couple of kills off on... a couple of assist kills up on the Clockwork too.
Might be worth stacking the Ancients if he's going to do nothing sitting there, because then he can just stack them for Gyrocopter. Clockwork trying the rockets. Out comes those cogs. Harassing the creeps. Maybe he can get himself some last hits finally. So OD really edging ahead of Silencer. Silencer's got 6 last hits.
It's also
22 on OD and 12 denies.
Yeah, it's also worth noting that OD's got complete and utter total rune dominance right now. He's picked up every single one.
It's to be expected that. Oh no.
Oh dear, this rotation.
Right now. Rotation coming in though. TP in from
Ooh.
Shrek, but instantly stunned up. Dragon Slayer comes up and takes him out of the Nightmare, tries to stun, does get a stun, but still dies anyway. Lina claiming that kill. He did save the semi-carry,
yeah,
but, he died himself.
And Silencer's still got to go back to Fountain anyway, so in many ways it's going to take him longer to walk back to Fountain than it would do to just die and respawn.
Maybe, but you don't want to be giving free gold away to your enemy team.
Of course not. Oh, Clockwork looking in an unhappy place right now. Rocket Barrage up.
Rocket Barrage. Lucky for him, the creep wave was following.
Yeah.
Keeping him alive. The right click's coming out. He's got face boot, so he's doing more right click than you'd normally expect from a Gyrocopter early on. But no, he survives. Little Clockwork, tough enough to survive. There's no regen left now, though.
We're seeing Darkseer finally finding some levels, but choosing to pick up Vacuum over Surge at level 2.
It's interesting.
Surprised that wasn't the death of him.
Well, I mean, Vacuum is one of the I mean, when I play Darkseer, I tend to just start the first level of Surge and then go for max Vacuum and max Iron Shell, because the bigger the AoE for the Vacuum, there's so much better for your wall.
Dude.
But yeah, definitely one level in Surge early on, because it's so useful a spell.
Yeah.
It's so useful.
Gone 2 levels in Iron Shell. I mean, he's really running a massive risk here, especially with him getting so little experience.
Oh, OD drops the hammer, almost completely wiping out Leshrac in one hit.
Colossal amounts of damage, though.
Yeah, he's been cursed up as well. He needs to use Astral Imprisonment. Does so. Is silenced now. I wouldn't stick around for that, even with the bottle charges. A lot of damage coming out from the
waiting for his supports to get here. His support's currently rotating right now.
And in comes the supports. But in comes the support from the Naga Siren and this Gyrocopter. Kill goes to Gyrocopter with Rocket Barrage. And, well, yeah, 1 for 1.
Yeah, I think it would have made a lot more sense for OD to just back out. I mean, a single rotation from Lina was all well and good, but they even saw the Gyrocopter missing from his free farm lane, so that's an indication that the rotation...
Clockwork was still behind his tower, so they didn't have a proper knowledge.
Well, the creeps had vision of him when he's free farming, so...
I suppose, but the creeps were kind of on tower. It's just a little bit of less map awareness than they wanted. And these Naga Sirens just attacking this outward devourer. Trying to harass him. Piss off! Leave me alone!
OD is most
It's OD's voice now.
The OD's done what you don't like to see an OD do enough. He's skipped the buckler and just gone straight for power trads.
Right, he's probably not going to build a mechanism, I guess, in this game. He bought a bottle anyway, so...
Indeed.
If he didn't... the mechanism is the alternative to the bottle.
Yeah.
And then it gives you survivability. And
the chance to regen
mana. The way he's statting, I mean, he has gone for full-on Essence Aura. He's got level 3 in it now. You probably don't need to stat that more than that at the moment.
Indeed.
Might put a few more points in Arcane Orb. Diving pretty hard on this.
Silence doesn't actually have any mana though, so...
What's he gonna do? What's he gonna do? OD ultimately not chasing him down past that bit of harass. Oh, lucky spawn though. Right next to it, DD.
OD is most amused.
We have the two up here. We've got the Nagasaren and the Darkseer looking like they're going to do something here. Are they going to go jungle and then hunt down the Shadow Fiend? Or no, it looks like they're going for the OD.
Yeah, I mean...
OD does have Lina back up
yeah.
here.
That's actually doesn't stack the Ancients right now, and it doesn't really put her in the best
their tune. They just warded up the jungle. But they still can't see Shadow Fiend at the moment because he's fortunately all the way over here.
All alone in the world.
Just farming stacks.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Well, he's farming the pull
I
for
feel
him.
sad for them.
Indeed.
Darkseer's back on lane. And looks like Nagasaren's rotating through mid to go back up to top. Bane's kind of drifting at the moment.
Indeed.
Doesn't know what he's quite doing. Lina is way out of position right here, trying to TP out. The stun wasn't enough. Ensnare comes out, and the Rocket Barrage doing a phenomenal amount of damage, and she is just killed off again. It's another death she gave away free.
So we're definitely going to see the Lina swap into the number 5 right here, even if it's currently Bane right now.
Oh no, she was playing 4, man. I mean, she brought the ward and she placed the ward in a really reasonable position. Unfortunately, it was bad timing to be putting that ward down.
Yeah, with 4 heroes up on the top lane.
So she unfortunately got herself killed, but she still got the ward down. And of course, that ward should be, I think, in position to block the stack camp.
Indeed, we'll see in 20 seconds at the very least.
Yeah. So it might be worth the death.
I don't
Well,
know.
not worth the death, the gyrocopter, but
I was gonna say it's.
at least it's not a completely needless death. So
Were it a death to the Leshrac, I'd probably... Also, Darkseer dropped off at some point down on the bot lane.
I assume it was a nightmare followed by lots of death.
He's actually level 5 and still not a single level in Surge.
Fair enough. No surge for you, sir.
This
So
is...
this means that level 6 is going to go straight for the wall, where normally you don't see them necessarily stat wall that early. I mean, I don't stat wall at 6. I wait a few more levels first because I want a couple more levels in vacuum.
Indeed.
So it's possible that he wants to get wall quick, so they can team fight quicker, which is fair enough.
That
So
would make sense with the majority of his team right now.
Yeah. Silencer is your illusion rune.
Probably just gonna go harass out OD with it more than anything else.
Talk about harass. Nightmare up on this.
Nope.
Darkseer.
OD's pretty much finished his
Here
max
comes a
right
stun,
now.
but the Raz came out first, so he managed to get away. Vacuums them all into a silence, by the look of things. In comes Nagasiren. She's going to do, well, very little but die, by the look of things. She's brought down by Lina's Dragon Slave. This poor Darkseer is on very little HP. In comes the Gyrocopter, though. Drops the cooldown. They do lose the Shadow Fiend, and it looks like they might lose Lina again. Oh, great stun by Lina. Can she bring down his Gyrocopter in time? Yes, he is brought down. She does die, but it doesn't really matter right now. In comes Clockwork, looking for a kill on this Darkseer. Can they get him? Yes, they can. They did lose Bane. Out comes the Cogs. He needs to TP out. He's been silenced up. He hasn't got the mana to TP out. The stuns doesn't
I'm
hit
just
him.
gonna assume he did though.
Yep, but he's backed out there. So yeah, kind of rolling team fight going on there. What happened? Let's count the casualties. Darkseer went down.
First death.
Nagasiren went down. Gyrocopter was killed off. They lost Lina. They lost Shadow Fiend, and they lost Bane. So it's a 3-3.
Pretty even trade as well. I mean, you're losing both your supports and both your farming carriers there. So
looks like they're rotating 5 men here. They're going to go push this tower.
yeah.
So towers being pushed down early really does favour this early kind of build they've got going for Noname.
In fact, both teams have this really heavily early build though. Although admittedly, ForDaWin transfer an awful lot better into the late game with this Gyrocopter.
That being said, the mechanism did actually get brought up.
Yeah, I was pointing that out earlier before this team fight happened.
Too much team fight, man. I couldn't pay attention to you.
It's getting ignored.
Gyrocopter getting Astra imprisoned there. Cooldown does come down again. Silence is up on the Outward Devourer. Cooldown does do a lot of damage to Shadow Fiend. He's on the run. Stun misses. Out comes the Sanity's Eclipse. They might lose Gyrocopter here. There's a wall. Can they vacuum anyone through it? No. I don't think they've got anybody. They brought down Silencer as well, and now they just wiped out the Leshrac. Darkseer goes down as well. Chases the Nagasiren with the hook. Can they bring her down and make it a whole team wipe? Yes, they can. Whole team is wiped. Tier 1 still standing.
As well.
Yeah, It's going to be definitely. They might lose tier 2.
It's actually worth pointing out is that ForDaWin did an awful lot of damage in that fight, but it was spread out evenly over all of the heroes.
Random cogs. Just being fired off. Right, Leshrac first to spawn, going to come and defend, backed up by the Darkseer and the Nog Siren. Can they do a lot though? They're doing a lot of damage to this tower. It's halfway dead now already. And all these souls up on the Shadow Fiend means he's right clicking for a hell of a lot of damage. Cogs up by the clockwork as well to keep them back so they can't defend this tower. Tier 2 is down and they'll back happy from that. So that team fight, that team fight cost ForDaWin 5 team members, the whole team, and 2 towers
in return for nothing. Yeah,
absolutely nothing. It's looking really bad right now. They can't afford to lose another team fight like that, especially when they have built for the team fight.
Yeah, I know. It's not so much the losing the team fight. I mean, you can lose a 5-man team fight like that nice and early on without real consequence, but this is losing a team fight to an OD and a Shadow Fiend. I mean, both of these heroes are going to benefit hugely from this early gold. I mean, Shadow Fiend's sat on 3.1k right now. He's probably looking to finish up a BKB right now.
Yeah, and Gyrocopter's been like front-lining for most of these fights
This
as well.
Been med.
Oh dear. So they actually know where the Gyrocopter is. Oh, that's the same team. So they're looking for just about any pick-off. If Snare comes up on Clockwork, but he can just put his down. He does get vacuumed out of it. Out comes a cooldown, but it's going to hit very little.
Wow.
Yep, a wall as well. They're really dedicated to killing his Clockwork, but he's walking around it. They've lost Gyrocopter already. Down goes Darkseer to a Laguna Blade. Oh, and on the chase, down goes another one. Silencer being brought down, but it's Outward Devourer. It's another 3. They lost 3 for 4. They've lost 4. Another Siren down as well. Yeah, it's... Wow, I could call this a GG now at this rate.
Yeah, this is... Shadow Fiend actually going for the Shadow Blade as well, so he's going to be looking to get off some huge ultimates, and I think this is going to be a really, really good choice as well, considering ForDaWin are going to kind of want to set up their ultimates.
They failed to really initiate them very well. They had the Darkseer, they got the wall, all they had was a Clockwork nearby, and they couldn't even get him through it.
Yeah. Outward Devourer actually walked through it, but he walked through it at the end of the fight to kill off half of their team.
Yeah, he walked off TP out by Shadow Fiend, just going to go defend top. And there's a 4-staff now up on the OD, making it even more difficult to escape him.
Indeed. It's getting really, really scary right now.
Yeah, and you see Gyrocopter is going for a BKB, which is pretty good. I mean, he's mostly getting nuked to death by the pure damage from the OD. The ultimate also did a hell of a lot of damage to him.
He actually had the Ogre Club up before he decided to go ahead and buy the Shadow Blade.
Yeah.
Engagement in the jungle.
Shadow Blade. Mithril Hammer, do you mean? Stun doesn't hit because of the Astral Imprisonment, and Lean's going to get out of there just fine. Yeah, a failed gank there, but to be fair, there was 2 kind of trying to gank Nargasiren, and then the support came in, and then they backed out, and everyone
just escalated into a team fight, basically, which team fight which never happened.
It's a semi-team fight. Out as a cooldown.
Shadow Fiend don't give no fucks. Shadow Fiend just right clicks.
They lost a tier 1 here as well. All tier 1s are down. They actually lost tier 2s on both lanes apart from this one.
Indeed. For no towers of their own as well.
Yeah, I mean, they just fight. They can 5-man push now at the moment because they've won every 5-man team fight so far. Actually,
a 4-staff up on Clockwork as well right now. It's coming out to him on the courier.
Yeah, it's going to be really tough from now on because let's have a little look at the charts. If you look at the experience difference, 10,000 in the direction of Noname.
Indeed.
Which makes a huge difference in team fights.
Especially when the experience is distributed over really, really key heroes. I mean, like, it's mostly on the Shadow Fiend and it's mostly on the OD right now. And although it means that their supports are slightly under-leveled, you have these huge carries who are much, much stronger than their adversaries.
But I mean, it's a level 8 on the Lina and level 8 on the Bane. Well, there's a level 5 on Naga Siren. She doesn't even have the Siren Song right now, which is their big initiation one. And
but this is what you're going to expect when you're winning a team fight at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's true, but I mean, the top tower's getting mashed already. It's tier 2. They might search into the jungle to get some kills. Clockwork's searching. He's got a hook. Who's he going to look for? He's going to fire
he sees the Darkseer. Oh,
Here's your
song
song.
initiation.
Finally, go for the song initiation. This is going to be a big team fight. If they can get
Actually,
this,
they're in a really good
nice
position
wall,
right now.
vacuum as well. No vacuum. They're going for the OD. The silence is coming up. They have to
Let's
back
get
from
out
this. They
there.
can't fight from this. Shadow Demon had Shadow Fiend even.
Oh,
Stops out of his own
this
cogs.
keep clockwork.
Oh, huge ultimate from OD brings down the Naga Siren. Under there chasing. Actually, can't. It was Clockwork that brought down both their supports. Oh dear, they lost to the Leshrak as well when he tried to run away. It's got to be a GG from this.
You've just lost another team fight, and this is not a team you want to be losing team fights against.
Yeah, I mean that was their big chance to get a huge win.
No, I saw everything in that team fight going their way, but despite Darkseer maxing out Vacuum without getting a single level in Surge, I mean, he didn't cast it at all. He didn't
Yeah,
decide.
but it's still only 2 levels, so the radius is only 350, which is not that big. I mean, he probably should have been able to get OD for it again, which would have been good having 2 ODs.
Yeah.
But
Or the Shadow Fiend right now. Because I mean,
the
look,
Shadow Fiend would have been even better. But it's just it didn't really go their way. It was kind of set up to go brilliantly, but Noname just went, "Oh wait, we're all silenced. Back out of this fight. Back out of this fight."
yeah, and they
It might have been better.
better.
Yeah, it might have been better, in my opinion, to like have a little bit of the fight before popping
start.
out.
Yeah.
No, not necessarily before the song, before the silence. Because if they're silenced, they can't really fight, so they're going to back out instantly. If you let them use some of their abilities here and there and take some damage, and then you throw out the ultimate, it might leave them in. Oh, in comes a cog.
Yeah.
The cog.
Good.
Nice force-staff himself out. There is an Astral Imprisonment going up. Silence has already been mashed up by this Bane. They lost the Darkseer as well. OD finishing him off, going for the left track. He's been reached down to death as well. Gyrocopter's going to go down as well. There's no way he's getting out of this. Right click to death by the Shadow Fiend. Only Naga Siren surviving. She can't defend a Rax alone. Especially without the song. It's another 50 seconds left.
There's the GG.
GG being called out by ForDaWin, which is unsurprising really. The way they have been completely and utterly shut down and dominated by Noname, there's no way back into this match.
And their early game looked really promising actually. They made some solid rotations with the Gyrocopter, and they kind of played it as well as they could against the OD, but I think the Silencer in mid was just a pretty poor pick. I mean, he's never going to do well against an OD, and he's a hero who needs to do well at the end of the day.
Silencer is a snowballer. I mean, a lot of people don't class him as such, but
Yeah.
I think the way his passive works with the stolen intelligence, you really want him getting kills and getting out of hand.
Yeah.
You also want a decent amount of farm on him. And against an OD, he's not going to get the kills because it's really difficult to kill an OD solo when you are an intelligence hero.
Indeed.
And he's not going to be he's not going to get the farm because OD can make it so easy for himself to last hit and deny.
And there's not even fantastic rotation opportunities for him, because I mean, that bottom lane with the Bane and Alina, I mean, there's a colossal amount of disables down there.
Yeah, what's he got to do? I'll go kill a Clockwork that's hidden behind his tower for most of the game.
Yeah.
It's not going to work like that, is it? I think the idea with the team fights was kind of there.
Yeah.
Just if you ignore the silencer pick for a minute, but the execution didn't
quite pull.
A lot of the
through
time, I felt that Noname were happy to bait them into an attack past their tower and then counter attack and just destroy them. Once it happened, the first time it happened, I mean, it was a pretty fair trade the first time that fight on bottom lane. Then it was a team wipe, and then they tried to go on a Clockwork only, and they didn't even get the Clockwork kill, and they got a team wipe. And then up top, they finally got the song. They finally got the wall down.
Lost 4 heroes.
It looked like they were going to do everything. Silence's ultimate came out, and they all backed out. As soon as Silence's ultimate went down, they went back in, and then they killed everybody again.
Yeah.
And from there, they just picked them off again and again and again, and it really strangled them out of this game. I mean, props to them. I mean, they didn't just hide in their base turtling. They went, well, we have this team fight. We've got to kind of go for these fights. And, like, this is our big chance. If we don't do this, well, just call it, because we're out of this game.
Yeah.
It's much better than turtling for the next 10 minutes and then GGing anyway.
Yeah, next 10-20 minutes is just sat there just waiting for the inevitable. So, going out in style, of course.
Okay, so that's about it from us today. Thank
Pretty
you
short
very
game.
much. Yeah, it was a short game, but it was
Kind of a
it was
stomp.
a fun game. Good to watch.
Yeah.
Good to always good to watch, even if they're a stomp. Of course, you can follow us on Twitter, SproinkDota. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel and get more nonsense like this. And of course, when we are doing live casts, which happen every now and again, you can follow our Twitch, twitch.tv/SproinkDota. So thank you very much, everybody, and it's a cheerio from me.
See ya!
And a see you from Iggy.